Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 people who escaped North Korea. We all know that out of all the great countries to live in, North Korea is less than desirable. The conditions there are so bad that hundreds of people try and leave every year. However, leaving is illegal, so those who have escaped have done it in amazing ways. Before we get into it, be sure to subscribe and press the notification bell too, because it really does help me out. Coming in at number 10 we have Hyesung. It's already very hard to escape from North Korea, but imagine doing this, then becoming a celebrity just years later. Well, that's exactly what Hyesung did in 2014. In January of 2014, she escaped to South Korea from the north. She then soon became a South Korean reality TV star. She was on a show called Morangbong Club, which is where hosts drink and eat with people and talk about culture. She was also on a show that's similar to The Price is Right, but for South Korea. But John's story gets even crazier. She said South Korea is obsessed with wealth, and she actually decided to return to the north. She's now still in front of the camera in North Korea. She's appearing in North Korea propaganda videos now. Some say the North Korean government is making her do this, but perhaps she really does like North Korea and hate the South. Next up is Hanmi. When you cross the border from North Korea into China, you might assume that you're safe. However, that is not the case. North Korea and China have a deal, meaning that the Chinese police have to stop any North Korean escapees and send them back to where they came from. And of course, this means certain doom when they're back in North Korea. Because of this, North Koreans who escape to China often try and get to a foreign embassy where the Chinese police can't get to them. This was the case a few years back for Lee Son-fi, Kim Wang-chao, and their kid Hanmi. They tried to get into the Japanese embassy after escaping to China from North Korea. Kim was just 3 years old at the time when her and her father escaped into the Japanese embassy. Her mother was not so lucky, however, and was stopped by the Chinese police. But thankfully, after a while, they also allowed her to go in with her husband and daughter. The images of the Chinese soldiers trying to stop them went viral, and Kim even met the president of the USA at the time, George Bush. I'm not sure what's worse, living in North Korea or having to hang out with George Bush. I'm just kidding, obviously hanging out with George Bush is way worse. Next up is Soldier. North Korea has many soldiers at the border between North and South Korea. Their job is to stop anyone trying to escape. That is why the world was shocked in 2017 when a North Korean soldier working at the border escaped. He jumped into a military vehicle and sped past the guard post. He then ran across the border into the south and was rescued by South Korean soldiers. During this time, he was being shot at by North Korean soldiers, which actually violated the Korean Armistice Agreement. The North Korean soldier successfully escaped and is now living peacefully and freely in South Korea. This has gone down as one of the most amazing North Korea escapes caught on camera, and now North Korea has put up massive walls to stop this ever happening again. Check out the escape video. Next up is Kim Jongnam. This one is interesting because Kim Jongnam is related to someone famous in North Korea. If you couldn't guess already by the name, I am of course talking about the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Kim Jongnam is the eldest son of former North Korean leader Kim Jong-il and brother of Kim Jong-un. He was supposed to be the new leader of North Korea instead of Kim Jong-un, seeing as he's the eldest son. But in 2001, he was banished from North Korea after he tried to get into Disneyland in Japan with a fake passport. He then moved to Singapore and lived what seemed like a normal life. In reality though, he was being watched 24/7 by North Korean agents because Kim Jong-un was suspicious of him trying to take over North Korea. In 2014, he was poisoned at an airport in Malaysia. Nam really proves that even if you do escape North Korea, you're not necessarily safe. Next up is Lee Haesung. When this girl was 19, she escaped from North Korea to live in China. But how did she do it? Well, first, she befriended a North Korean border guard. After years of making him like her, she got him to give her the idea of a disabled Chinese girl. Lee then adopted a new identity and was able to be smuggled into China with the help of a human smuggler. She says she much prefers where she lives in China now and was able to get a Chinese citizenship. She's currently one of the most vocal activists criticizing North Korea and Kim Jong-un. And she's also now a best-selling author after she wrote a memoir called The Girl with 7 Names. The reason behind the title is because she had to change her identity 6 times during the process of escaping from the north. Next up is Jung Han. This is a weird one. In 2002, this guy escaped from North Korea. However, he didn't much like South Korea where he escaped to. In fact, he liked it even less than the North. Because of this, he had a tough time integrating and even faced some backlash for being from the North. Believe it or not, he's now trying to return to North Korea. However, it can be hard to get back into North Korea if you've left. Sun says he mainly dislikes North Korea because of the way the media portray the North. Next up is Park Young-mi. Like most kids in the north, Park grew up thinking it was the best country on earth. However, after her grandfather was sentenced to prison time for a minor offense, she began to doubt this. And when she saw an illegal copy of the movie Titanic, she realized she preferred the West. It took Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet's good looks to make Park flee to the South. She managed to get her and her mother sold to Chinese farmers. They then ran away from that farm into Mongolia and finally reached their goal destination, South Korea. They now live peacefully and freely in the South. Coming up next is Shin Donghyuk. We all know from this list that it's a hard job to escape North Korea, but it's even harder to escape a North Korean prison camp. Well, this man named Shin has done both. When he was in the camp, he climbed through a hole in the barbed wire fence and found a soldier's uniform. Like a movie hero, he then disguised himself with it and used it to cross the border into China. North Korea says those camps don't exist, and Shin is simply a criminal who's fleeing the cops after having a relationship with a minor. However, Google Earth shows the camps do exist, and I'm pretty sure Shin did nothing wrong. However, the story of his escape is very embarrassing for Kim Jong-Un and his government. Next up is Pyong Ho. No matter how high up you are in the North Korean government, you're never safe. In fact, Kim Jong-un took the life of the second most powerful man in the country, who was his uncle, and the highest ranking man in the military in 2017. However, in 2016, Pyong Ho, the North Korean ambassador to the United Kingdom, was called back to North Korea from London. Tai knew that this is not good, as he would have his life taken as they wanted to replace him. As a result, Tai used his diplomatic connections in order to disappear. He fled to South Korea and began living under government protection. Kim Jong-un said that Tai was evil, but perhaps it's the other way around. Next up is No Kum Sok. This man may be one of the earliest and most interesting North Korean escapees ever. The Korean ceasefire had just started in 1953, but tensions were still very high. One man named No, who worked at a North Korean airbase, decided he'd had enough of living and serving the North and decided to get out of there. So he jumped in a military jet and flew south at over 600 miles an hour. No was overjoyed to have freedom, but when he landed, he was also given $100,000 by the South Korean government. That's because he bought a plane along with him, and those planes cost a ton of money. Check out the poll in the top right corner and vote for the most amazing North Korean escapee. And if you want something on the brighter side, check out my second channel. There'll be a life hack video for my second channel on screen in a moment, so click it to check it out.